The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited.
They do not give up until you pay.
They put a lien on my house.
How about you? Do you owe back taxes? Call Tax Solutions now and get some help. For a limited time, the IRS offers a tax forgiveness program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Our team can make it easier for you to pay back taxes, avoid tax liens, and get a fresh start. Sometimes you just need a second chance.
I call Tax Solutions now, and they got the IRS off my back.
At Tax Solutions Now, our affiliates are all accredited by the Better Business Bureau and members of the National Association of Tax Professionals.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now. Call 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Turnpike Sports Book Report, where we discuss the state and national sports betting reports. We discuss legislative updates. We also do deal reporting, as well as even launches that happen around the country and also pretty much all of North America now.
Shouldn't this all be about New York now? Is that the big sports betting story?
Well, New
let's
York.
Be honest.
Let's just jump right in it then. Well, we actually
those
have,
numbers were staggering.
We actually have two states that look to be very impressive. New York with just strictly financial numbers. And then we have Louisiana with some betting volume numbers reported by GeoComply. Let's start with New York. New York is the obvious, I guess, the elephant in the room.
The record-breaking New York sports betting market.
$1.625 billion. You can't say it's a full month because they didn't start January 1st, so it's just a little over 3 weeks, and they set a national handle record for a single month, $1.625 billion. That's with a B.
And just for its comparison, the last sports betting record for handle was New Jersey, which was it $1.3 billion? So not only did they break it in less than a month, they just blew by it.
They blew by it by just about $300 million,
yeah.
Which very impressive. They said the state was going to be
and that's just January.
Numbers.
We're not even looking at the Super Bowl numbers yet.
Well, here are the actual numbers for New York.
Okay.
$1.625 billion January mobile sports betting handle. That's not even the retail books.
Yeah, 1.6 just in mobile. I mean, I didn't even see. I couldn't even get past the 1.6 billion to be perfectly honest with you. But we're not even counting the retail books.
Well, here's the big number: $58 million in state taxes.
There you go.
In the first month.
Yep. That's why states do it.
According to many people's calculations, and this is kind of an interesting statement. The $58 million in sports betting taxes is roughly 5% of all legal sports wagering taxes collected across every state overall since May of 2018.
Yep.
So they have already gotten a chunk of the overall tax revenue for the nation.
It's already worth it for the state.
And actually looking at some of the sports betting numbers for the individual operators, very impressive showings by these books in New York. Some of these numbers are more than what they make anywhere else.
That's another thing that's shocking to me. Not all the mobile operators are operating yet. I mean, this is only it's a majority of them. I think there's supposed to be 9 mobile operators in New York. Not all 9 are working yet. Not all 9 are online yet.
We have WinBet.
Should be interesting.
WinBet launched at the end of last week.
Okay.
And we still have yet to see Ballybet show up.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't announced a launch date yet. There's a whole bunch of others, too, that, in terms of deals. I mean, everyone's waiting for Fanatics, too.
New York is supposed to have 9 mobile sportsbook operators, and not all of them are operating yet. So can you imagine New York at full strength? Unbelievable.
I'm very curious to see what happens after Super Bowl and March Madness, though. And like I was getting to, the individual operator numbers, Caesars led everybody in January, $615.5 million in handle.
Well, they are advertising like you wouldn't believe in the New York area.
They have
I'm
been
seeing
putting a
Caesars
push on
everywhere.
like you wouldn't believe.
I'm seeing Caesars everywhere. I'm seeing Caesars on buses. I'm seeing Caesars on billboards. I'm seeing TV, radio, everything Caesars.
Well, here are the numbers right in a row. We'll just do the handle numbers. Caesars $615.5 million in handle for January. Then you have FanDuel in second with $501.8 million. DraftKings in third with $367.7. BetMGM, which didn't launch the entire month, they've only been a week old in all this, $78 million in just a little over a week for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's very impressive for that book. Bet Rivers $32.4 million. They're still they're less than 5% of the market. And they're just plugging along with however they do their business, and they succeed. Sometimes it takes them a while to get a foothold in a lot of the states, but they're doing their thing. And then you have PointsBet, $29.5 million in handle in about a week's work.
Okay.
So that's kind of impressive in and of itself, because a lot of these numbers are bigger than some of the other states that these books do business in. And like I said, we have WinBet. They just launched at the end of last week. Ballybet has not launched yet. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if those numbers grow anymore. Who's going to lose market share, depending on what books come on.
I mean, everyone's saying it's a shiny new toy, and certainly these numbers could level off, but I don't think so. I mean, I think that it's going strong. It's a huge betting time for the Super Bowl, and like you said, March Madness. And, everyone was talking about how big of an issue the 51% tax rate was.
Doesn't seem to be an issue.
Yeah, like I said, it's New York. The population's huge. It's the number one media market in the country. It's 51% taxes is the cost of doing business in New York, and let's be honest, it's kind of worth it. Well, anywhere else it kind of wouldn't be worth it, but it's New York.
I did notice an interesting trend in the last 2 weeks with New York, and I don't know if it means really anything, but between the third and the fourth week of January, and New York's been reporting their numbers weekly, which actually is a great thing to see. But between the third and the fourth week, I noticed a big drop-off between the handle and also the gross gaming revenues. Between the third and fourth week, we had, in the third week of January, $572 million, and it's down to $450 million in the fourth week, and that's with the 2 extra books launching, too. And then you have the revenue, $43 million, down to $21.6 million. I'm wondering if the promos ramped it up, because it was going, first week was big, second week was bigger, third week, now the fourth week dropped down.
A lot of the promos are for first-time registered people, After you register for the first time, a lot of the promos fall away, unless they had some specials during, Super Bowl or something like that. But like I said, you can listen to our commercials. A lot of these promos are for first-time depositors, first-time registers. So, you can only register for the first time only one time. I'm just wondering, it might drop off.
I'm just wondering, with the initial launch of these books, are we seeing the burst out of the starting blocks? And then will New York fall back at some point?
Well, look,
I know after March Madness, everybody pulled back.
Yeah, everyone. Well, that's the test. But look, I think they launched at a great time. You have the NFL playoffs. Hey, you have the Olympics.
You have the Super Bowl.
January
is the big month for the Super Bowl betting.
Although then you have March Madness. It's huge.
Although I have to admit, this year's Super Bowl is a week later. Mm-hmm. Are we going to see more betting handle from the Super Bowl in February than we have in years past?
Yeah, because I remember last year a lot of Super Bowl betting occurred
in January,
late January, I mean, it all occurred in late January. I think I did all my Super Bowl betting in late January. Now, you got a couple weeks here in February where you can figure things out.
That's what I'm saying. I think maybe we're going to see a shift in how the Super Bowl betting has been occurring.
Sure.
I know New Jersey was huge in Super Bowl betting in January last year. Same thing with Pennsylvania, too.
Yeah, I think last year, wasn't it like February 3rd?
Yeah.
Or something
and
like
this
that?
is now a week later.
Yeah, so...
Because of the extra week in the
was
season.
it February 13th? Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So we got an extra week of February betting on the Super Bowl.
It should do wonders for February's numbers.
That's what I'm saying. Are
Yeah.
we going to see a shift in terms of betting handle for the Super Bowl? Will January now be a little bit less than years past? Because even though we have more states, I think what we talked about this earlier in the actual main show, there are 9 extra states now, or 9 new states since the last Super Bowl?
Okay.
So I don't know exactly with the February. February is going to be more affected by the Super Bowl now than January is, I think.
Sure.
But again, New York blew by that monthly record. I have to admit I was surprised, because I really did not see that 51% being just inconsequential, which it appears to be. I thought that was going to be a bigger issue.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the other state that launched mobile betting, which was Louisiana. Louisiana had some interesting numbers, and that was reported by GeoComply. GeoComply verified that 2.68 million geolocation transactions occurred in the first 48 hours of Louisiana mobile sports betting.
Wow, that's a lot.
It was more than New York.
Yeah.
In the first 48 hours of New York's activity, when they launched their mobile betting, New York had 3.3% of population betting volume. Population volume doing the mobile betting.
Okay.
Louisiana had 3.6%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a huge difference, but it's impressive for that state to overcome the betting volume of New York. I guess it's because of the LSU guys playing in the championship game. It was the Bengals championship game.
There's nothing like mobile sports betting. Last night I was laying in bed late at night and I placed a bet. I grabbed my phone, I placed a bet in the middle of the night. So where else can you do that? I mean, mobile sports betting is certainly...
Hopefully it wasn't an Olympics bet.
No. It was what was it? See, I'm trying to think of what it was. It was a college basketball bet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the phone is there for. If it's not being
it's right
used
next
to play
to your
a radio
bed,
at night or something,
you listen to the radio, you hear things, and okay, let me take a look at that, and the numbers are right, and you fire off. You can't do that. You can't get dressed and run over to your local sports book, your retail sports book. No, you grab your phone and you place a bet.
Well, in the olden days, it used to be call up your bookie, the illegal stuff. But as long as you're awake and you hear it correctly.
Yeah.
That's the important thing before you place that bet. But again, 3.6% of Louisiana's population was betting the first 48 hours of the mobile state launch. At the end of the weekend, after last Sunday's NFL playoff game, more than 3.4 million transactions occurred in the state of Louisiana.
That's pretty impressive.
According to GeoComply, that puts Louisiana in the top 8 nationwide in terms of sports betting volume.
Look, there's an LSU quarterback making news with the Super Bowl and the NFL playoffs, and sure, that was like the perfect storm when mobile sports betting occurred, and Joe Burrow was tearing it up in the NFL. And also
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, and Jamar Chase,
another LSU product.
Yeah, no, LSU is probably driving that mobile sports betting number.
Well, the gaming department, the gaming division down in Louisiana was bending over backwards to launch it by that championship game, and they succeeded.
Smart move.
Most of the mobile wagering in Louisiana occurred in the Baton Rouge and New Orleans areas.
Okay.
Southeastern part of the state accounted for 68% of the transaction volume over its first weekend.
Wow. Okay.
So, both states. I mean, New York is always going to be the more impressive one with that $1 billion handle. I'm wondering how quickly Louisiana gets there, because that was a good showing on their first weekend.
It was a very good show. Yeah, no.
And they're going to be bigger with March Madness because they have a couple of the games, I think, in the Superdome.
Yeah.
And they allow college betting on in-state college athletics. You can bet on in-state college athletics in Louisiana.
Yeah, it's great.
So they're not going to miss out on some things like Jersey.
Yeah.
Which still, stupid rule. But what are you going to do? A couple other benchmarks to talk about. Commonwealth of Virginia passed the $3 billion mark with their December sports betting report. They are actually one of the quicker ones to the $3 billion mark as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, nothing like 3 weeks to hit $1 billion like New York did.
Sure. So the quickest one to $1 billion before New York, I guess, was Arizona, right?
They took 3 months. That was the quickest.
New York took 3 weeks.
New York just said, hold my beer.
Just 3 weeks.
Colorado sportsbooks, they earned $250 million in revenue on nearly $4 billion in wagers in 2021. They were the 6th largest U.S. state in terms of annual betting volume. So Colorado is right there with just about every other new state that's popping on. I mean, it's not losing any steam. Colorado is there.
I've been hearing a lot of sports bettors have been moving from Las Vegas and Nevada to Colorado because Colorado offers a lot of things in terms of promos and specials, and the menu is a lot better for Colorado betting. So it's very interesting what Colorado's doing.
Well, also in Rhode Island, set a record quarterly handle of $167 million in the fourth quarter of this past year, 2021.
I placed one bet in Rhode Island. I forgot what the place was. What was it?
Twin River.
Twin River.
Before it became Bally's.
What town was that in? That
was Lincoln.
Lincoln.
The other one does
Lincoln,
not have
Rhode
a
Island. I placed one bet one time a couple years ago. So
well, the Tiverton one does not have a sports
Tiverton. That's right.
Yes. Kind of a fun name to say. And also in Colorado, I believe it was table tennis. They were 4th in the state in terms of handle for sport in 2020 when they reported their December numbers.
You know, table tennis is always usually the number 5th or 6th sport bet in Colorado, and they jumped into the top 5, huh?
Yep.
4, huh?
Well, Colorado and Oregon always.
I don't get it, but whatever. I just can't get into table tennis.
Well, yeah.
I constantly look at it, and I try and figure out what they see in this sport. Hey, if you like it and you're a fan of it and you're making money off it, great. But I'm just trying to, maybe if I saw it on TV with more production value. The only time I've seen table tennis, it was like a webcam placed on the table, and you can just see you don't see the players, it's just see the ball going back and forth. So
is it part of the Summer Olympics?
I would guess.
I remember seeing it on TV. I mean, really well produced.
It's certainly not now in the Winter Olympics, so if it was part of the Olympics, I would guess it would be part of the Olympics.
Well, you don't have outdoor table tennis.
Yeah. So, I'd watch that. Yeah.
In the snow.
Yeah, in the snow.
I wonder how the wind would affect
snow,
the ball. Yeah. Let's talk about a couple launches here. We have kind of an interesting 2 launches that dealt with Washington, D.C. BetMGM opened its retail sports book at at Nationals Park, where the baseball team Washington Nationals play. They're the first.
Now, can you get to that if you're in the stadium? Can you get to that?
It's connected to the stadium.
I know it's connected to the stadium, but there's a lot of things connected to stadiums that there's no entranceway from inside the stadium into the place.
I believe there's like a corridor entrance or something. I mean,
right.
It's not like walk in, you're sitting in your seat in the stadium and something you turn around and you can hand somebody. No, I don't think you can do that.
Okay.
But it's the first one that's connected to a Major League Baseball stadium. We've got Arizona coming down the road with the first NFL sportsbook with the Cardinal Stadium.
The start of the 2022 season. What sportsbook is that? That's
BetMGM.
That's BetMGM too, right? Okay.
But again, first one for a baseball stadium, pro baseball stadium. It's going to be open year-round.
Good.
Now, remember, BetMGM had also launched their app, so people were actually able to bet within about a couple-mile radius of the stadium to begin with.
Yeah.
So now they can go into the stadium and do it year-round. They actually had their first bet.
Was it a ceremonial first bet, or
I'm talking about a commercial bet.
Okay, so it wasn't someone like a celebrity placing a bet on something.
The book won their first bet.
Oh, okay.
Somebody put $5 on San Francisco to beat L.A. in the championship game.
Oh, okay.
So they're already in the plus.
Look at that.
Speaking of
$5
DC,
bet, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of DC, well, that's a very interesting first if we're the state. We've also got Washington, D.C. giving permission or approval to Ellis Gaming, which is a sportsbook operator. They're the platform operator, to expand in the Grand Central restaurant and sportsbook. They're going to be opening more teller windows, more betting kiosks.
Great.
And the Grand Central restaurant and sportsbook is the first legal sportsbook in an independent sports bar.
Okay.
It's not part of a chain like Buffalo Wild Wings with BetMGM and all that stuff. This is an independent sports book, and
but in this one, you can actually in Buffalo Wild Wings, you can't place a bet.
They have the BetMGM,
but this one, it's a restaurant that has windows,
teller windows, and kiosks.
Okay, interesting.
And their first 3 months of operations, they had a $1.4 million handle.
Wow!
So a couple of firsts in.
A lot
DC.
of restaurants should take notice.
Canada. We actually have a launch date for the private sports betting market. April 4th is when all the private sports books that have been given approval to launch can launch. Also, right now it's only the lotteries that are running sports betting in Canada, especially the online sports betting. The Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation announced that players can now place in-game or place single-event wagers on a variety of sports via their ProLine platform at 10,000 retail locations across the province.
Wow, okay.
So they are increasing the size of the market even before the private operators get in there. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how the market is.
The one thing I saw about Canada was I think it was a tweet by PointsBet. They got a license or something.
PointsBet Canada got a license. They actually even did a deal with, let me get the name right because it was a ski organization.
Oh, okay.
PointsBet Canada announced a multi-year partnership with Alpine Canada Alpine, ACA.
Canada,
they're spelled
Alpine?
differently. Alpine, and then the other word is ALPIN. So
Okay.
I'm assuming that's French for something.
Okay.
Or
all right.
Canadian or whatever they call it. But they PointsBet Canada is their official sports book commencing with the 2021-2022 season.
I saw that announcement, yeah.
But going back to one other launch that's happening in Ohio, their sports betting has not launched yet.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Ohio to pull the trigger. Boy, what a perfect time for Ohio to launch sports betting. And they finally have a team in the Super Bowl, and what happens?
You can't call it a launch. They legalized it.
I know they legalized it, but they didn't go all the way and launch it. They had a what a perfect scenario for Ohio just to launch their sports betting market when a Ohio team is in the Super Bowl.
Well, in Ohio,
they missed it.
Right now, Ohio, Jack Entertainment.
Okay.
They announced plans to build retail sports books at their Jack Cleveland Casino and the Jack Thistledown Racino, as well as launching an app. They've already launched a website called betjack.com. And what they're doing there, it's a free-to-play site, but it's also educational. They have instructional pieces on the website teaching people how to bet.
See, that's always a great move. And casinos have been doing that forever. I mean, when you go to a casino, you can learn how to play the games before you actually play the games for real money. I know online. I mean, the poker sites here in New Jersey, every one of them have a poker school. So you learn how to play poker and you know the rules and everything like that. So that's always a great move.
One of the big things for sports books now is responsible gaming. That's how they actually train people or train their customers, I should say, to actually keep their head about themselves. Sure. A lot of people really don't know how to do this, without getting sucked in.
Well,
I hate to say it that way.
Well, they get carried, especially you get all the hype around the Super Bowl and things like that, and you get carried away. And one of the sports books has 17 pages of prop bets. I mean,
Caesars.
You can very easily get carried away throwing money down on this thing. So it's good to be educated. An educated customer is always the best.
The
thing.
one good thing about that 17-page booklet of the Caesars prop bets, most of those are only in person at Caesars Palace in Vegas. You can't go to the website and actually.
Well, they have a lot of.
They
props.
got their own.
They
there.
got
Yeah,
a lot of props online. So
a couple other deals to talk about. We've got FanDuel Sportsbook announcing a partnership with the United Center, home of the Chicago Bulls and the Chicago Blackhawks, to open a 2-story sportsbook. That's going to be adjacent to the United Center atrium. It's not technically the actual arena, but it's right there attached to the atrium as you're making your way into the arena. The interesting thing about this deal is the owner of the Bulls is also the owner of the Chicago White Sox. Now, the Chicago White Sox all last baseball season had FanDuel ads everywhere in the stadium. Everyone is thinking that this would be the first step to seeing a FanDuel sportsbook at the Chicago White Sox stadium.
I'm convinced in about 5 years, every stadium is going to have a sportsbook, or at least kiosks. I mean, it's just heading that way, and it's just good business. It seems like no one's really opposed to it.
Well, according to the American Gaming Association.
Oh, is there a survey?
They have a little.
Did I stumble upon another survey?
They did
the
a little
betting
"did
industry?
you know" kind of tweet, and I saw it, and I want to give them credit for it because it was a very interesting tweet.
I didn't know you were going to bring this up, though.
I didn't know you were going to lead me right to that one.
Okay.
So,
okay. So it's about people's attitudes towards sports betting in stadiums, or
well,
what?
Here, take this for what it's worth.
Okay, all right.
According to the American Gaming Association, 4 in 10 American adults believe in-stadium sports books add to the entertainment value of in-person sporting events.
Okay.
I mean, that kind of goes without saying. I mean, you can't really, it's the only way it affects the in-person if you have a retail book there. I mean, I know probably 100%.
4 in 10. That's a lot.
40%.
I'm surprised. Yeah. Well, let's be honest. If you're in a stadium and if you have a cell phone, guess what? You can place a bet. And if you're in a legal sports betting jurisdiction, you can place a bet. I mean, if you were watching the Phillies, guess what? And if you have a cell phone, you can place a bet. So what's it matter if they actually have a physical retail book in the stadium? By the way, I mean, they almost have a physical sports book in the stadium. All you have to do is walk across the parking lot and go to Live Philly, and they have a sports book there. I don't know who runs that sports book, but no, Live Philly is like right there at the stadiums.
Well, the place in Chicago is kind of important because you have DraftKings doing the 2-story book with the Chicago Cubs.
Okay, all right.
So you got FanDuel keeping pace with them, possibly.
So why wouldn't the White Sox have one in their stadium?
They already have a deal with FanDuel for the advertising.
So you might as well. Yeah.
And they did pass that ordinance
and
allowing the books to be attached to the stadiums in Chicago.
And I guess according to the American Gaming Association, everyone's kind of cool with it. So why not do it?
1 or 2 pieces of legislation to hit in Florida.
What a mess.
The FanDuel and DraftKings backed ballot measure failed.
Yeah.
They announced that they weren't going to make it. Hawaii, we have 5 different bills in the process of moving forward.
That's going nowhere.
In some way, shape, or form. Yeah. You have, let's see, Illinois Representative Daniel Diedick filed a sports betting bill to divert the 6% of the revenue from sports betting to a sports wagering fund to allow for problem gambling and education.
Okay, good.
One of the other things which was interesting in his bill, he had a proposal to create an exclusion list of students and student athletes and university personnel to exclude them from betting.
Okay. Yeah.
The schools would have to report people that can't open accounts.
Okay.
Which was, I haven't seen anyone do that yet. And Mississippi, finally, for the last note for today, Mississippi's online sports betting bill has died, has not moved forward, and sports betting will remain inside the casinos. And also, the mobile sports betting will be still stuck in the one casino that does have.
Don't they see what's happening in Louisiana? People love it down there. It's really doing great things for the state, and I don't get what these states are doing here.
People love mobile sports betting.
Yep.
So that's it for this week's Turnpike Sports Book Report. There were more stories on the ticker going down below us on the TV side of things, and you will also see even more stories in the print version of the book report on our blog, turnpikesportsradio.com. Click on the blog button, and you will see the print version of this book report, which has the stories we did talk about and stories we didn't hit in print form. Again, keep your press releases coming in. News and notes, info at turnpikesportsradio.com.
And that'll do it for us this week. Hey, enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.